Callbacks are functions that run only when you tell them to run, not the moment you write them, not automatically, only when you decide the time is right. Most people think a callback is just a function that you pass into another function. That is true, but it misses the real reason callback exists. Callbacks are not really about passing the function around. They are about controlling exactly when your code runs. In this video, we will cover 4 things: what callback actually is, why callbacks turn into callback hell, the real reason behind your callback runs exactly, and the one habit every real callback should follow. That real reason comes straight from the event loop system that we've seen from our last video. A callback is a function. You hand that function into another function as an argument. The other function decides when to run it. There are 2 kinds of callbacks. A synchronous callback runs immediately during the same line of code. Array methods like map, filter, and for each all use synchronous callbacks. And asynchronous callbacks runs later, only after something else finishes first. setTimeout, event listener, and fetch all use asynchronous callbacks. Most callback confusion is really this exact mix-up. People expect every callback to run right away. Async callbacks never do that on purpose. Knowing the 2 kinds of callback is useful, but async callbacks creates a real problem. Once you chain a few of them together, the problem has a name, and you have probably seen it. Async callbacks often need other async callbacks inside them. Each one waits for the one before it to finish first. Nested deep enough, your code turns into a staircase. Picture fetching a user data first. Inside that callback, you fetch their orders. Inside that callback, you fetch each order's details. Every step is nested, one level deeper than the last. The code becomes hard to read. Error handling has to repeat inside every single level. One small mistake and the whole chain can break silently. This whole mess is called the callback hell, or the pyramid of doom. Callback hell is frustrating to look at, but there is a bigger question hiding underneath it. Your callback function never runs the moment you write it. So when does it actually run? When you call setTimeout or a fetch, JavaScript doesn't run your callback immediately. It hands your callback to a web API instead. The web API does its own work quietly outside your code. Once the web API completes its work, your callback still doesn't run instantly. It gets placed into the callback queue. It has to wait there until the call stack is completely empty. The call stack has to finish everything it is already doing. Only then the event loop does check the queue. Only then does your callback finally get its time to run. This is the real reason callback exists. They are not just functions you pass around. There is a way to say run this, but only once the timing is actually right. Now you know when a callback is actually runs. But still there is a one real world habit every callback should follow. It's a pattern you will see in almost every node.js callback ever written. Most real callbacks take 2 arguments. The first one is already reserved for an error. The second one is reserved for the actual result. If something went wrong, that error argument holds that error. If nothing went wrong, the error argument is simply null. You always check the error argument first, before touching the result. Skipping this check lets error fail silently. Following it makes every callback predictable to read. This exact pattern is why Node.js callback feels consistent everywhere. A callback is a function that runs only when you tell it to run. Sometimes immediately, or sometimes only after the event loop lets it through. Chain too many of them together and you get callback hell. That exact problem is the reason promises were invented. And that is exactly what we break down in next video. If you like this video, leave a comment and hit the subscribe button. Everything about callback comes back to one thing, the event loop. If you haven't watched the video of event loop, you can see it from the top right corner of the screen. See you in the next one.